welcome to this video. Today I'm going to unbox the June Elves box with the theme of carousels. Now I'm not going to show you the outside of the box because they put the shipping label directly on it. So let's get straight into unboxing. And as always, the first item is the booklet, and this one is really simplistic as it has some really cute horse designs and surprisingly nothing on the back. And our first item, as you can count it, is this UV resin, and we actually get 2 bottles from this for silicone molds. And we also get one of these handy flicey markers, and we got a red metallic marker of them in a previous box and I really liked it, so I'm happy that it was in this box as well. And then we have this 2-part carousel horse mold, and with this it has a rim where the mold goes together, and then we have holes on the bottom where we can fill in the resin, and it has a nice little reservoir for overfilling. So I really hope this works and there will not be too many air bubbles because it's so detailed. And then we get some golden bezels that were super securely packed. Like, I struggled so much to get this bag open, but in the end I got it without ripping it. And so we got this carousel top, and I guess we can actually put some charms on there to make it look like a carousel rideables. And then we got this full-on carousel, a carousel horse with the carousel rod thing, and I guess this is supposed to be like a carousel sign or a fair sign or something like that. It's very ornate. Next up we have this handy syringe, and this has a blunt needle and it's just great for filling in the molds, and I guess this is for the horse specifically since the holes are so tiny. And then we get this giant marshmallow candy. Now this I think is supposed to be the middle of the carousel, but it just looks like the tiny marshmallow candies they have in their store. May even be like the same model, just scaled up, but I really liked it, so I think you can also make a great marshmallow candy thing. And then we got this really beautiful kitten, and I think this is one of their cotton candy series, and I think it definitely looks kind of like cotton candy, it looks fluffy. And we get some 3:1 ratio resin from them. Now the base mold for this carousel kind of looks also like a bowl, so I guess you can even use this as a trinket bowl or something like that, which I think is really handy because that means it's multiple purpose. And lastly we have this mysterious brown box. And surprisingly inside we have the top of the carousel. I think they packaged it inside to make sure that the stand isn't bent because that would render this mold kind of useless. And this has some really beautiful details, so I hope that they will come out nicely once we pour it. And before we go to crafting, let's open the booklet. And the first 2 pages show us what we should have gotten in the box. And the next pages give us detailed instructions on how to assemble and make the carousel. So feel free to press pause on your screen if you want to read them. The last few pages have the June Elves box challenge winner, and I think it's such an adorable character with these pastel colors. And on the last page we get their social media information, so their Facebook and everything else. Now that we have seen everything that's inside the box, let's get crafting. I wanted to start by filling up these molds that require epoxy ratio resin. So I'm starting off with making a golden middle rod thing, And I'm using their pigment that came in their star sign box in the beginning of the year, which I still really love because I think it looks so pretty and golden. And basically I'm just swirling it around in the other molds also, and I'm also using a little bit of gray to swirl around, and then I'm topping it off with white, and I hope this will get a kind of marbled look. So let's hope it will turn out nicely. And I definitely mixed up too much resin, so I had a leftover mold ready that I completely filled. I couldn't decide what color to use for the horses, but in the end I went with this kind of, I would say, jade color, which is really light, and I'm basically just coloring the provided UV resin and then filling it into the horse mold with the syringe. And this was super tricky. It went in fine, but there were so many air bubbles that I actually carefully pulled the mold apart in certain parts and then tried to let the air out, which worked fine, but the belly had still a lot of air bubbles that I couldn't get out. I think they're not too noticeable in the end, but yeah, after I finished pouring, I just cured them under the UV light, and then I had so many things to trim, and sadly lots of the things actually broke off while I was trimming them. But there was just so much overflow that required cutting with some harsher tools than a knife, so I sadly couldn't really avoid it. And yeah, also I couldn't get the syringe clean anymore, so I guess it's a one-time use. I could save the needle top thing though, so I guess that's great that I can reuse that at least. And here you have both of the horses, and I'm just using some instant super glue to glue them back together. And now that we've finished the horses, let's unmold the two-part resin stuff. Now it didn't quite get a marbled look, but I think the traces of gold inside definitely gave it a really nice effect, and like a rod for the middle definitely looks really pretty with this gold pigment. And our leftover tray actually has this really beautiful foggy gold-like effect. So I'm also really happy that I had enough mixed for making one full like coaster tray thing. Next up, I fixed everything with Loctite. In the end, I went in with the base of the horses and used some UV resin just to secure it, but Loctite definitely helps to put it in place first, because I'm sure if I would have used UV resin it would have turned out pretty crooked. And after they finally stuck, I could assemble the top, and then it was on to coloring the details. And for that I'm using the provided metallic gold pen, and I'm using basically not the top but the side of the pen to go over. If I use the top and I slip, I would make lines where I don't want them, kind of like that. And with the sides I just have more control over just coloring in the raised areas. And the gold actually fits quite well with this gold that I chose for the pigment for the rod and stuff. It's a bit more yellow, but it's definitely pretty. And here you have the results. Now I'm not quite sure if the jade color fits to this gold theme, but I like it. I guess I could have also gone with candy colors or something like that, and something maybe more colorful, but I think they kind of look like jade glass, so I think it definitely looks really cool and like a really cool display piece. Now, as to the box, I think they definitely provided everything that you could have wished for making this carousel, and the bezels were also quite nice. Although I really don't understand this sign one. I guess it's a cute design, but I don't know if it was necessary for this box. Now, the only thing that I would have maybe wished was a pigment. Any kind of pigment as a base. But I guess with how hefty the molds are and stuff, there's already a lot of things in this box, so I understand why they didn't provide any. Maybe instead of the glitter or something like that. Also, I think the glitter is way too thick for fitting inside of the horse mold actually, or through the head of the syringe, and I think it would clog up. So that's also a thing to consider. So maybe they could have replaced it. But I'm still super happy with this project, and I think it's really cute display piece. And I actually hope you guys liked it too, and let me know in the comments down below, did you get this box? What do you think of my color choice? And maybe what color would you have made the horses? And what color would you have chosen in general? I hope you have a great day. Bye!